Very few auto mechanics want to touch EVs. Not only do they require vastly different tools and equipment to work on, but they have to be stored a certain distance apart to avoid a fire spreading from one to another. Most mechanics I have spoken to are completely unconvinced by the concept of the EV and want nothing to do with it. They're perfectly happy to continue working on ICE cars as long as possible. This is just one factor that is causing the cost of EV insurance to go through the roof, along with expensive replacement parts, the difficulty evaluating a damaged battery pack, and the likelihood of vehicles being written off as a result of the cost of a new battery combined with vertical depreciation. Just another reason to never, ever buy an EV. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer turned Sydney YouTuber. Please be sure to like, share and subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment down below, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter X. As the Daily Mail reports, some Chinese electric cars are almost uninsurable in Britain. Owners of BYD and GWM Aura EVs in Britain are facing sky-high premiums. Issue is linked to a lack of parts and expertise to repair cars following crashes. Owners of some of the latest Chinese electric cars to enter Britain are facing expensive premiums and in some cases are almost uninsurable for drivers. It comes after various reports of Range Rover owners struggling to find affordable cover for their vehicles, which is linked to the fact the luxury SUVs are being targeted by organised criminal gangs who are stealing them to order for illegal overseas exports. However, the insurance woes faced by owners of Chinese EVs hasn't been triggered by their vulnerability to theft. Yeah, I can believe that. Instead, it's a lack of available parts and expertise to repair them that has seen premiums soar in recent months. A report by automotive title Auto Express found that drivers of BYD and GWM Aura vehicles are facing extremely steep quotes for cover because only a few insurance providers will underwrite them due to the difficulty to fix them. The Motoring magazine highlights the BYD Seal, a sporty electric saloon model that costs from £45,695 in Britain, as one example where owners are facing major difficulties finding cover at an affordable price, or at all. Auto Express said it had searched leading comparison sites and were only offered 3 very high quotes, with the majority of mainstream insurers refusing to provide a price. And the other issue is the lack of trained mechanics, probably because no one wants to do it. With over 1 million fully electric cars now on Britain's roads, it means there are 18.5 times as many EVs on the road than there are trained mechanics who can fix them. Emma Carrigy, research manager at the IMI, said, "Attracting new talent and training technicians to work safely on electrified vehicles does take time, so the industry must not be complacent or take its foot off the recruitment or training pedals. After all, a skills gap is still forecast and could have significant impact on drivers' ability to maintain and repair their electric and hybrid vehicles safely." The IMI predicts that by 2030, the sector will need more than 107,000 EV-trained technicians, increasing to 139,000 by 2032 and 185,000 by 2035. If current training trends continue, it is expected there will be a shortfall of 30,000 EV-qualified technicians by the time the ban of new ICE vehicle sales comes into force in 2035. The same issue is happening here in Australia, where there is a lack of EV technicians. I can't understand why, though. It must be such fun to work on batteries and motors all day, with the risk of fire and electrocution. EV mechanic shortage could worsen under new vehicle efficiency standard, half of motoring jobs already unfilled. Electric vehicle EV mechanics are in short supply, and a surge in EV sales brought on by the government's new vehicle efficiency standard could make the problem worse without a plan, the motor industry warns. A Deloitte and Motor Trades Association of Australia (MTAA) report found just 41% of advertised roles in the emerging EV technician occupation were filled last year, amid an acute shortage of workers in the sector. Across 2,000 jobs advertised by businesses consulted by Deloitte, fewer than 800 were filled, translating to a sector-wide vacancy fill rate of 39%, well below the government's 67% threshold to declare a job in shortage. With more than 180,000 electric vehicles already on the road and the uptake of EVs rapidly growing, the industry fears not enough is being done to train a new generation of workers in the specialist EV role, which requires different qualifications to a traditional mechanic. MTAA's chief executive Matt Hobbs said there was simply not enough workers for the work available. "We just don't have enough people fixing cars right now, and this has been an issue for quite a few years," Mr. Hobbs said. Being a motor mechanic in the past was an aspiration for many young people, whereas now, what's the point? You'd be better off getting an IT geek to work on an EV rather than a proper mechanic. I'm glad to say that despite all the windbaggery from the government about the EV transition, there will still be decades of work required for proper mechanics.